So the next step is when you delete tasks, we want to get rid of them out of the database. So now we're down to the last in our CRUD acronym, the D part of our CRUD acronym: create, read, update, delete. We've done all of those things except delete now, and we want to delete the tasks out of the database when the user clicks the remove completed tasks and there are completed tasks. In the list, we will delete them, and that is done by issuing a delete statement. And a delete statement is simple. You say delete from table where some criteria is true. And almost even more than update statements, you better have a where statement and a delete statement, or a where clause and a delete statement, because if you don't, although the where clause is optional, then the delete statement will delete everything, which is probably not what you want. So here's an example. Delete from tasks where ID equals 1. So what we need to do is, since we're going to be potentially deleting a whole list of tasks, any of the ones that are complete, we need to come up with a way to get all the IDs of the tasks that we deleted from the list when we click this remove complete task button. And then on the application, we'll implement a method that takes a list of IDs and delete all those tasks that match those IDs, because we're going to delete a group of them at once. So let's do that. We will first of all implement that method on the application. So I'm going to go to the Task Manager application. After Save Task, I'm going to paste in some code here, which will do our deleting for us. And the way that I'm going to do that is, instead of issuing a list of delete statements, which is something I could possibly do, I'm composing them into one delete statement, which deletes from, basically here's what it's going to be like. Where IDs in, this is a SQL thing, in 1, 5, 7, whatever. Oops, sorry, there should be commas. 1, 40, 42, 5. Whatever, some arbitrary list of IDs goes here. And this will delete from the task table where the IDs are in this list. And that's what I'm composing up here. That's the end result, or that's the goal that we're trying to get to. So we're going to take a list of longs as IDs, and then make a string buffer, and then just pop these guys onto that string buffer, separated by a comma unless we're at the end of the IDs. This is pretty standard stuff, so that we don't end up with a hanging comma here, which will blow up. So that's pretty simple. And then I compose the statement here by creating the where clause here, where something in this list, just like I did before, and then pass that into the delete statement on the database, which takes a table as an argument, a where clause, and then let's look at the help really quick, because there's one more. Oh yeah, so where args. So this is just like before. Any of those we can pass in an array instead. It's just that I'm not sure that I can do the interpolation with a list in that case, so I'm just going with this. I'm not going to try to test that out. What I mean is, I might be able to do something like this, but I don't think I can. We can look into it later, if you could or not. But then replacing that question mark later on with an array of IDs, something like that. But I'm just going to stick with this because I'm not worried about any sort of SQL injection in this case, so it's not really a big deal. Okay, so now we need to call this, and the right place to call this is inside the view task activity after remove completed tasks is called. So inside the view task activity, when remove completed tasks is called, we know that we're going to remove them from the adapter. And then we need to somehow call up to the application and say delete tasks, which we just created, and pass in a list of all the IDs. So where are we going to get those IDs? What I've chosen to do is to do this. Make a specification that the remove completed task changed. So now that we're beyond refactoring now. We're actually changing a method signature. So we're changing some APIs. But everything else was pretty clean, right? We kind of kept to changing things in the application, and other places didn't really need to know too much about what was going on besides implementing some new functionality which wasn't there before. In a lot of cases, we were doing some real nice clean refactoring. But now we actually have to change this method signature on remove completed tasks to return an array of longs. And here's what we'll do there. Let me open up the code and just pop it in there. After notify dataset changed, which will update our list, we're going to return completed IDs, which I'm going to create as a new local variable, completed IDs, array list of task, which I want to be a new array list, blank, and then whenever a completed task is added to this other array, which we use to do this tasks.removeAll little step down here in the dance, we're also going to add task.id to completed IDs. And I think I need to do a cast here. I thought auto-boxing would have taken over for me, but I guess not. Let me look into this real quick.
Is somebody saying that the array list might be wrong?
Array list? Oh, yeah. Duh, I don't know how that happened. There we go. Nice work, Eclipse. Thanks for nothing. Sometimes you have to watch after the generated code. Okay, so yeah, so auto-boxing takes over and the long will turn into a long object, and we'll pass around the long array to whoever calls us once we remove the completed tasks, and that should happen once we click the remove all tasks or remove completed task button here, and then we'll call up to deleted tasks. So let's watch that in action. And then we'll be ready for some questions with time to spare.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have a little bit of time at the end.
A little bit of breathing room. Okay, so get milk. Let me just add one that's not. Add task. Now we've got one that's completed, one that's not. Remove completed task does not blow up, which makes the instructor happy. And now I'm just going to go to DDMS to kill this so that we can prove it. O'Reilly Android Task Manager, stop. Switch back to the emulator, hold down the home key, go to Task Manager, and there it's proved. So now we're deleting tasks out of the database. Okay, so that's all the steps that we have to biting off what we decided to chew up today, which was to CRUD tasks from a local SQLite database. Are there any questions about the deletion feature?
Yes.
Or should we
Well, I actually had one question that a ton of people asked related to deletion, which was, why not just delete from tasks where completed equals true rather than having to pass the list of IDs?
I could have. I've left this, I think when I implemented it, I don't know, I don't have a good answer to that, but I'm trying to think back to what I did when I created this code. I think what I wanted was a more general completion where I can a more general deletion where I could pick and choose which ones to delete generically instead. But in the way it turned out to be, I think I might have started writing the code or coming up with what I wanted to write before I really centered on what the feature was going to be. So yeah, there's no reason that could be done that way. But this way, I've got something that will allow me to remove a list of IDs no matter what. So I could do a delete from like a detail view or something.
Yeah, or you could remove a task that wasn't complete. So.
Yeah, and I could also implement methods up here, delete tasks or delete completed tasks or something for a special purpose, delete all that are completed. So yeah, it's totally valid. Going back, I should probably have done it that way, but I think I started writing before I even knew what I wanted the app to be at this point.